Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rainmakers Roundup. I am your host, Mark Iorio, and I've got with me today David Safeer. David is co-founder and president of David Safeer International. David, welcome. Great to have you on the program.
Mark, it's great to be here this morning.
Yeah,
Thanks
it's
for having me.
Great to have you. It's a pleasure having you. You're a couple time zones away, so it's a little bit early for you, but it's a normal morning, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Got to get up and work with the East Coast. Isn't New York and New Jersey the center of the universe?
That's what a lot of people think, but I don't know about that, my friend. Oh gosh. Listen, I was telling my wife about the business. She asked me yesterday, who are you interviewing tomorrow? And I said, David Safeer. And I love your business, David, and because you have a very different approach to how accountants and bookkeepers really look at cash flow, and the way they were trained in the past, is just, it's not helpful for a business owner. So tell us a little bit about it, because I just find what you do fascinating. I love what you do.
Well, good. I'm glad you love what I do. I love what I do also.
Good.
Yeah, Mark, business owners depend on their bookkeepers and accountants, and they're great people for providing historic information.
Mm-hmm.
That's their role. That's what they've been trained to do. But when a business owner needs help looking forward, that's where they have not been trained. And so what I do, it's actually a model. It starts with the bookkeeping,
Mm-hmm.
but then you model the cash flow and you predict going out. So you have to look to the future. You have to be willing to take a risk and make a prediction model
Mm-hmm.
of what the revenue is coming in, what the expenses are going out as a base case. And then you learn how to manage that cash flow by saying, okay, what can we do to bring money in? Or in some cases, push money out, but get more money from your clients because they're going to take more time, or bring expenses in, or because you can save money by bringing expenses in, or push money out. And so that's management. And then they generally need mentoring, because business owners and the people who work for them don't understand cash flow either,
Mm-hmm.
and don't understand all the critical business decisions about cash flow. It's not in the finance department, it's in the sales, marketing, operations, human resources. They all impact cash flow. So the team needs mentoring. And then finally, you're trying to figure out how to maximize cash flow, which generally also means maximizing profits.
Right. Yeah, and all of that is so helpful to a business owner to understand, exactly what's going on going forward in the future. How can I look at growth? How can I look at expansion? How can I look at hiring, more people? And when it's you're looking behind you, you're looking at historical accounts and records, that's helpful to some degree, but until you understand cash flow, and you mentioned, mentoring through sales and marketing and other departments, how do you teach accountants and bookkeepers, David, that have not yet been exposed to this kind of cash flow analysis to understand it a little bit better?
That's a great question, Mark, because there's two parts. They can pick up the technical skills very easily.
Mm-hmm.
The modeling, it's simple cash flow models. You can use Excel, addition, subtraction, and using a calendar, just time-based transactions.
Mm-hmm.
The more difficult part is mindset, and how to think differently and start breaking GAAP rules. Because GAAP, which is generally accepted accounting principles, is drilled into us in school. I'm not an accountant, but I took accounting and I still remember the principles. So to redo the mindset, I literally have mindset exercises, and we do masterminds where I get together and we talk and we discuss, we do case studies, and we spend time digging deep into how to extract information and how to provide information to clients.
You know, it's interesting. It's not just the bookkeepers and accountants that suffer from this. It's a lot of principals, a lot of business owners, C-level executives who started their own business. They're thinking of it in those terms too. And you know what, too, David? The other thing is bankers. Your financial markets guys and women all look at it the same way. It's like, can I see your historical record? Yes, but you need to see what I'm looking forward, how I'm looking forward in the future. And you've got a lot of people to train and change that mindset.
There are. And can I tell you a quick story about a banker and a client?
Yes.
So I was helping a client prepare statements for a bank, and the bank said, we want to see your projections for the next 6 months.
Right.
And so we prepared a cash model projection, which is just what you mentioned, and they rejected it and said, no, we want the accrual model, which is what we're taught in accounting.
Right.
Let's look at accrual,
Right.
which is all imaginary. You're invoicing, but this client in particular had delayed collections, and it looks much better in accrual.
Yeah.
And the other, cash basis is much more accurate for what reality will be.
Right.
And the bank didn't want to see it.
And that's what gets
I don't understand.
And that's what gets bankers into trouble too, David, because if you're showing them an accrual-based cash flow model, it's not a true picture of what can happen or what should happen going forward. If I'm a banker and I'm looking at you helping me as a business owner, I'm thinking, well, what I'd like to know is over the next 6 months or maybe as far out as a year, I need to know how you're going to continue to grow this business so you can service the debt that, the loan that I provide you, right?
Right. Will the cash be there? And what you just said is an oxymoron. You said accrual-based cash flow projection.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. It's accrual-based financial projections.
Right.
It's not cash.
Yeah.
It's this imaginary profit. And so here's one of the challenges. What does the media focus in on? They focus in on two things: revenue,
Right.
which is contractual, it's not real cash coming in, and they focus in on theoretical profit, accrual-based profit, which can really be inflated or deflated based on accounting adjustments.
Yep.
And we see business failures that are surprises, which shouldn't be surprises.
Exactly. Now, your client base are typically who? Are they business owners, or are they accountants, or are they a combination of all those?
That's a great question. So I work with businesses. So I've got business owners who are clients, but I spend the majority of my time working with their finance people and helping them develop the models, develop the systems to implement inside the company. That's one group. And then I also train accountants and advanced bookkeepers how to do the work that I do.
Yeah.
Because I want to multiply. We've got a problem in this country. It's an epidemic. 600,000 companies fail each year, and 65% of them are profitable.
Wow.
So what's the problem? They've all got, 80% of them have cash flow issues.
Wow. That is amazing. That's a staggering number. Now, let's say you go into a new business, David, and you're talking to the business owner, and hopefully you have a good relationship with the bookkeeper already, or maybe not. What is the process that you deploy inside the organization in the first couple of meetings? What do you start to do? Your due diligence, your discovery, and how does that typically work for a new business owner or a business owner?
Well, the first thing we do is take a look at the bookkeeping. Bookkeeping's a baseline fundamental. It has to be done properly because you do need to understand the past to be able to predict the future.
Right.
Oftentimes, unfortunately, two things are going on. One, the books are not up to date. There's a possibility that there's mistakes. But number two, which is also an issue, is their chart of accounts doesn't allow us to tell the story behind their cash flow. So we restructure the chart of accounts so we can really get an idea of cash being generated and where the expenses are going out.
Interesting. What do you mean by that? To explain that a little bit more. The chart of accounts doesn't tell the real story. What does that really mean?
Well, there's certain things you're looking at. For example, gross margins, which is sales minus expenses.
Yep.
Right, sales minus cost of goods sold, cost of goods sold.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, people are putting cost of goods sold below, they're not showing cost of goods sold, so they don't know what their costs are to sell. And so then you don't know how much cash is being generated from a sale. Let me give you an example.
No, that's a great point. I'm 100% with you, but I just want you to explain it to the audience. That's great.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So let me give you an example. Oftentimes, salaries, compensation is all put into one bucket as an expense.
Yep.
But if, let's just say you are a cleaner and that you do industrial cleaning, somebody comes in and cleans your studio, and they earn $10,000 a month, and they have supplies as a cost. So maybe it's $500 in supplies. And so you say, well, we're generating $9,500 a month in cash from cleaning the studio.
Yep.
Because they've put the salary for the cleaners along with the executives, the bookkeeper, the marketing people. But in reality, you have to pay those people, and maybe those people cost $8,000.
Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden it's $8,000 in salaries to clean your office and $500 in supplies, which is $8,500. So it's $10,000 in revenue, $8,500 in costs. So you're only generating $1,500 in cash to pay for everything else.
Yep. That makes total sense. So you're fully loading that cost of goods instead of not accounting for all of the expenses that go into that bottom line. So a lot of times the chart of accounts doesn't account for that, right?
That's one of the common problems that I see.
Yep.
So you don't realize when you sell something how much cash is being generated that's left over.
I love that.
Instead, it has to be spent to deliver the goods or services that the business is delivering.
You know, we have to take a break, David, but man, to me, that is the kind of detail that business owners need to pay closer attention to. And, you know, they just kind of look at those, you know, the cost of goods versus the sale, the revenue, and the difference is our gross profit margin. You know, it's not always the case. So already you're teaching the audience something that they need to understand. Listen, we have to take a quick commercial break. This is going to go by too quickly. We'll be right back with more from David Safeer after this message from our sponsors. Don't go away.
What makes a Wawa Club? Is it the crispy bacon on the turkey BLT? The endless layers of flavor of the buffalo chicken salad? Or is it a secret handshake? Nah. At Wawa, there's a club for everyone. Find yours today.
We Ride for Those Who Died. The Police Unity Tour and RVN Television is bringing to you a show called On Your Honor, Straight Talk. And I'm your host, Patrick Monturi. I am a retired police chief from Florham Park, New Jersey, and I am also retired from the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. I am currently, for the last 27 years, the CEO and founder of the Police Unity Tour. And this show will bring to you straight talk about law enforcement, the actions and heroism that is provided to you, the citizens of the United States, as well as their actions in falling in the line of duty, as we could see some of the stories that surround that. Again, please watch us on RVN Television and be safe. Take care.
At Jersey Mike's, they slice your order fresh right in front of you. And let me tell you, watching that can send a rush of emotions through a person. Excitement, impatience, baby-like wonder, indecisive, anticipatory chewing, nerves pacing, happy claps, and finally, jealousy, because that's this guy's sub. I should order one. Good idea. Sliced right in front of you. It's a Jersey Mike's thing. A sub above.
Welcome back to Rainmakers Roundup. I'm your host, Mark Iorio. I've got David Safeer with me today, and David is the co-founder and president of David Safeer International. And David, love these conversations because it really speaks to the heart of how to run a business from a cash flow perspective. And right before the break, we were talking about, you know, fully loaded cost of goods when you're dealing with a chart of accounts. And I had asked you a question about how you onboard a client, and you're kind of in the middle of that when we had to take our break. So keep going, and then I want to ask you to share with us a case study of something, a client you're really proud of, and something someone you really helped.
That's great. So let me take a couple more steps. The next step is modeling. We model out the revenue projections based on history, based on seasonalization, it depends on the type of business they are. You're taking best guess, or you're looking at contracts that are being delivered and when they can be invoiced. But here's the key thing. We are not looking at when they're being invoiced. We are looking at when the cash will be received based on reality.
Exactly. Yep.
So, and we're looking at the contract saying, when are they supposed to be paying? 30 days? But more importantly, when are they paying?
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. Some clients actually pay early on a very dependable basis, which is great news. But more often than not, you're seeing people paying late. Now, It might be 33 days, it might be 35. You go, it's no big deal. But the difference between 30 days and 35 days is a week, and that could be payroll. Or 45 days, right? That's what that customer does. And if they do it often enough, and it's a big enough client, it can really throw off your cash flow. But as we model, we look for opportunities for improvement and for management.
Yeah, it's such a good point. Such a great point. So go ahead. So
so then we look at expenses. I won't get into the details there, but you've got recurring expenses, and we've talked about the cost of goods sold, and there's good ways to figure that out. And that the bottom line is you're saying, okay, here's the revenue, the expenses, beginning balance. And so if we add the revenue, subtract the expenses, that's our predicted ending balance. And we move that over 1 week, and we do it for the next week, and we do it for the next week. And we create a model that's at least 13 weeks long. Why? Because that's a quarter, and you want some visibility for a quarter. The first couple of weeks are very accurate. After you got to get used to it, but you can get really accurate for 2 or 3 weeks out, and then it's less accurate, but you can see the problems coming 3 months out if you're doing a reasonable job with your forecasts.
the timing of our interview is so perfect because yesterday I had a conversation with a client, and they're a financial services / accounting firm. And one of the problems that they occasionally have, it's not that gigantic a firm, but they're 35 people, 2 or 3 of their partners do not do their timesheets on time. So what does that cause? What kind of problem does that cause in the firm? They delay billing, billing's delayed, cash flow's delayed. It's you know, if you say, well, it's only a week late. Only a week late, you know, if, like you just said, you can impact payroll if you're not careful. So talk a little bit about a really proud, I know there's lots and lots of them, but pick one out where you're really proud of a relationship with a client, and maybe they were a little stubborn or hard-headed in the beginning.
Well, so I'll talk to you about Wally. That's his real name. I won't tell you any other details. But Wally had a retail store that sells power equipment, lawnmowers, chainsaws.
Yep.
And this is in sort of a very small town in Appalachia.
Okay.
And he was a tough guy. But when we first met, he handed me his financial reports and said, David, I don't understand it. I made $250,000 last year on about $2 million in sales. That's what my accountant tells me, but I don't have any cash in the bank. I don't know if I can make payroll in 2 weeks.
Wow.
I don't know what to do.
Wow.
And he was near tears.
Wow.
And my accountant can't explain this. So over the course, it was about 20 working days, took 3.5 weeks. We were able to reduce his accounts receivable significantly. We were able to figure out where his cash was, which was in an inventory.
Yeah.
We were able to rejuggle the inventory. So he was selling stuff. There's something called flooring, which that's financing from a company. He had fully paid in inventory that if he sold it, he got to keep everything, versus if he sold it, he had to pay the manufacturer.
Yeah.
So I said, fine, wait, don't sell that. Sell the stuff that's already paid for. We did all sorts of things, and literally, he was in great shape 3 weeks later.
Oh.
Fantastic story. I could talk about that. We just did a case study with my group. We spent 8 weeks talking about this particular situation.
Wow.
It was great.
That is great. That's a hell of a story, man. That's that's something where this poor guy's working his ass off. He's doing everything he possibly can, and he looks up and he doesn't have any damn cash, and you're thinking to yourself, what, where is it? Did somebody steal it? No, it's in inventory. It's right in front of you. It's interesting.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
Sometimes have forces working against us, including the accounting industry that doesn't really know how to explain this.
Yeah.
There are accrual-based reports. If you had cash-basis reports, it would have been different. But sometimes it's the manufacturer saying, take more inventory, we'll give you a discount. And he's thinking about what? Profitability.
Yeah.
Because he can get 2% extra. And so sometimes this is where the mindset is sort of screwed up for thinking just about profit, not how the cash flow impact is. We can shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. You're starting to think, well, gee, if I buy this extra lawnmower, these 10 extra chainsaws, they're going to give me a 5% discount, and I can make more margin on the other end. Well, yeah, okay.
Right.
But you just spent, $50,000 on new equipment, and it's just sitting there, not generating cash flow. Listen, I love your business. I really do love your business. I meant what I said when we opened up. I don't just say that to everyone, because I think what you're doing is a huge service to these business owners and accountants, frankly, that do not have that type of mindset that they need, David, to understand how to help these businesses. Because you're out there, you're working your tail off, and what you're looking for is cash flow. That's really that's the model. If you had to do it all over again, your career from the beginning, from when you started, what would you, and you and I were at Kodak almost at the same time. I think we were working at different divisions, but what would you do differently? Would you do anything different?
The biggest thing I would do differently is I would have stayed in touch with people better. I'm so jealous of the people coming into the workforce right now with LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Which I signed up for LinkedIn, I think, in 2002. Did I use it? No, not properly.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, is keep grow and keep my network.
Yeah, yeah. And then further, and that, taking that question just a little bit further, if you were to sit here next to me and give younger David Safeer advice, what would it be, David?
It would be people come first.
Yeah.
The technology, whatever you're learning from a technical or a professional basis is good, but building up people and helping other people succeed is what it's really all about.
Yep.
It'll probably help you get further than if you're selfish and self-centered, but more than anything else, if you want to succeed, help others, but it's also the right thing to do. And again, society has changed. That is happening more. It certainly wasn't happening when I started my career.
Yeah, you're right. And that's great. Listen, I do appreciate this time with you. My final question for you, my friend, is where do you find the inspiration to do what you do every day? What inspires you? Who inspires you?
Well, my co-founder, business partner, and wife is a huge inspiration. We work together, but both of us feel the inspiration coming from business owners. Sometimes it's the accountants we work with who are all business owners of themselves, that are trying to learn. We are inspired as we're able to teach them, but every single time we run into a business and we can help somebody and see the impact on their families, the employees' families, the vendors' families, the clients' families, this is a huge multiplier effect in the economy when we can just help more businesses stay in business.
Great. Wonderful stuff, my friend. I knew this was going to be a great interview, and it turned out to be a fantastic one. So thank you for that. Tell everyone how to get in touch with you and David Safeer International.
Well, if you want to get in touch with me, it's davidsafeer.com, david.com. My email address is very creative, david@davidsafeer.com. It's my email address. And you know what? Feel free to call me. Here's my personal line, in the United States, so country code 1-801-510-3566.
And you're definitely on LinkedIn. Connect with David on LinkedIn as well. David, thank you so much, my friend. I really do appreciate it. One of these days we're going to get together in New Jersey or in Utah. One of the two places, that's for darn sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. All right, folks, that's a wrap for Rainmakers Roundup. Have a wonderful week, and please do check out David Safeer when you have a moment. He is on LinkedIn. And all those things we just talked about as business owners, that will be a huge, huge help to you to understand cash flow and the benefits of it. So we'll see you soon. Have a good week.